Now this test is just testing out the 24 to 70 millimeter normal lens. It's only basically testing the lens, doesn't test any of the camera features really. And in every single shot, autofocus was used. I find that autofocus is probably better than I can do myself, probably in most instances anyway. And I focused it on that little white piece of paper in the center of the shots. I took 18 shots. I shot using low 100 ISO, which is about the lowest, and 6400, which is basically the highest. Nothing in between. However, the lens aperture was set the wide open at 2.8, and in the middle at f8, and then closed down at f22. As for the focal length, I used 24, 50, and 70 millimeters. You'll be able to see the difference. Altogether there's 18 different shots using a combination of different ISO, different f-stops, and the different focal lengths. I used the tripod in every shot, and I pre-focused on that little piece of paper in every shot before I set the camera off. And to set the camera off, I used the self-timer to eliminate camera shake. I think what surprises me most is how little difference there is. Well, it is noticeable, but there's very little difference between the fine grain ISO 100 and the very fast 6400. I'm very pleased with the 6400. It's just super as far as I'm concerned. Now I know that reducing the big camera files that were originally 7360 by 4912 down to 1920 by 1080, I'm losing quite a bit here, but still it looks pretty sharp. Now obviously the most noticeable difference is in depth of field between f2.8 and f22. I'll toggle back and forth here between the two settings. Notice how the background jumps in and out of sharpness. I'm in the backyard here. The neighbor has a nice lilac tree, but it's pretty windy and those lilacs there are flapping around pretty good. So I wanted to make sure that my shutter speed was up. So I've got the ISO set at 1000, but looking back, maybe what I should have done was slowed it down to 100 or 2 and then just opened the lens up more. And then of course I'd have lost the depth of field, but that's alright. Might have looked even better, who knows. Anyway, you'll notice that the ISO and the f-stop remain constant. It's always at f13 at ISO 1000, but the shutter speed went up and down a little as the light value changed. As I mentioned, there's a lot of wind back here, and so you're going to get a lot of noise in the microphone. Sorry about that. I am getting a new mic. Okay, right now the camera is focused on the fence and on that lattice work. And it's shooting at a 5/100th of a second at f8. Looks like ISO 160. I would say that's probably optimum. Once the center of the viewfinder is on the garage over there, I'll push the autofocus again, see if it makes any difference. Okay, right now the focusing point is on that stucco, and I'm going to push it right now. Okay, this is at 24 millimeters. I'm going to crank it over to 70 and push the autofocus again. I'm going to push it right now. Okay, I'll just pan back. We're still shooting at f8, 250th of a second. And I think what's happening is the ISO is automatically going up and down as the light value changes. Okay, now I'm going to push it again on the lattice, pushing it now. Okay, I put the polarizing filter on. See what it does to those clouds. Okay, perhaps what I should have been doing is turning the filter while it was filming here. So we'll do this again. I'm just going to go right around 180 degrees here. Okay. Almost back. Okay, now we're back to where it was. I'll do it again. 25%, 50%, and all the way back. Okay, now here I've got the sun pretty well directly behind me, and I've adjusted the polarizing filter so that it's the sky is at its darkest. I don't know if that's the way to go or not. It'd be nice if there was some water or some I guess snow and water is what it really excels on. There's a little cloud up there. See if that comes out or not. Okay, it appears that the f-stop will stay at whatever it's set at. Right now it's set at f8 still. And as I move from the dark shaded area into the light, what is changing is both the shutter speed and the ISO. Okay, I can see what I should have done perhaps is had the continuous focus turned on. So as the lens turned onto a more distant object, it would have automatically focused onto it. The only thing is that I find sometimes with that is that it's always hunting and seeking, and it's kind of annoying. Okay, I'm going to push the focusing rate now. Okay, and now I'm going to focus it again. And again. Now these are all handheld shots, so they're going to be a little bit shaky. Sorry about that. And again, right on the corner. And again. Okay, a minute ago I was looking out the back window and I noticed that the lilac bush had stopped swaying and it appeared that the wind had gone down. Nope, I guess the wind saw me coming. Well, Max's birdhouse isn't swaying in the wind. But boy, I sure am. I can't hold this camera still. And Martha's flowers here seem to be pretty well sheltered. This will give it a pretty good test.